So hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of the reviews, and this is the first review after Christmas, and this is actually something I picked up over Christmas. So we're going to have a look at the box first. I'm going to have to move this about because it's too big to fit in shot properly, but this is my very first ever X-Plus Kaiju figure, and I am really excited. And it is my second favourite Kaiju of all time. It is Ymir from the movie 20 Million Miles to Earth. Really nice box, actually. You've got Ray Harryhausen Film Library here. If you turn it to the side, you've got pictures of the other figures that they do in the X-Plus Ray Harryhausen line. You've got the Cyclops from Sinbad, you got Talos from Jason and the Argonauts, and the Dragon from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. On this side is nothing, apart from like this thing up here to make it look as if it's a crate. And for those of you who've seen the film, it's because Ymir comes in a crate at one point. Anyway, Ymir, 20 Million Miles to Earth, Ray Harryhausen Film Library, 12 inches tall, painted, soft vinyl, very accurate in detail. Sculptor, Taichi Yamada. Now, down here we've just got legal information and whatnot. So yeah, it's quite a nice figure. He was in there, his tail went through that hole at the back and was in two parts. So I'm just going to move the box, and let's have a look at the figure. So here he is. I'm just going to angle the camera down a little bit. And here is the X-Plus Ymir. Now, this is the first time I've had an X-Plus figure, and I am so happy that it is Ymir of all Kaiju, because, as I said, he's my second favorite Kaiju after Gappa. So, as always, we're going to start off by looking at the sculpt. This face sculpt is phenomenal. Like, I know I was expecting a lot from X-Plus because I'd heard so many good things, and, you know, they're known as the best of the best when it comes to vinyl figures, but this really did hit the nail on the head because this is just perfect. Look at this face. The detail is amazing. His eyes look fantastic. The skin is wonderful. If we open the mouth here, you can see there's detailing on the inside of the tongue there, and even on the roof of his mouth is textured. It's fantastic. All the teeth are individually sculpted. You got his ears and stuff. It's just, oh, the sculpting on this face is fantastic. We move down to his body. You've got his like big pronounced breastbone, and the nipples are really nicely done, and just the skin texture is wonderful overall. The sculpting on the back there. Very nice. The arms have some interesting bits. They've got these fins on the back. We've got this little bit of extra texture in there, and the hands are really well done. Really nice detail. And yeah, it just carries on all over, and the skin texture is phenomenal. And then the tail as well, and his sort of big bird-like feet are really nicely done. Very nice. It does have a bit of paint scuffing, but I think that's just because this is an old figure, and it was brand new, but you know, it's had a lot of shelf life, this thing. So yeah, overall the sculpting is fantastic. Next for paint job, for those of you who've seen 20 Million Miles to Earth, the original, it was in black and white, and there was a recolored version, but in the recolored version he was pure green. But I believe that to be simply because of the limitations in technology of repainting, and this is apparently the colours he is supposed to be, and I think he looks really good. I think he looks really nice in this multiple coloured thing as opposed to in the film when he was just pure green. He has this very dark green with like lighter green scales and things, which give a nice shading effect. The fins are a sort of brown colour with these white tips, which is really nice. The face has sort of a creamy beige, more skin tone colour to it, which is nice. The eyes are grey. The chest has, again, a more fleshy colour. He's got some red paint there on the nipples, and there's some shading on this down by the stomach area. It gets a bit darker, and around the groin. And his sort of bird-like feet are done in a nice sort of brown, which is really cool. There is texturing on the bottom of his feet, as well as some paint detail, and along here. It seems while we're here, and I do realize I've been forgetting to mention it a lot on some figures recently, but here's the company information here. It just says X-Plus made in China. If we turn it over here, it says TM 1957 2001 Columbia Pictures. So yeah, paint job, very, very nice, very detailed, very well, when I say accurate, very accurate, I imagine, to what they wanted to do with him in the film. And overall, yeah, just a fantastic paint job. And the paint gives it a very nice dusty feel. It's weird. It's difficult to explain, but like some vinyl figures are a little bit too shiny for my liking. But this guy has a very nice matte finish to him, and he feels almost, he isn't dusty, but he has a sort of dusted feel to him, which is quite nice. Okay, this guy's got quite a lot of articulation, especially for a vinyl figure. First of all, the articulation you saw before, his jaw will open to about here and close. It's not too stiff, not too loose, that's good. He has articulation at the neck, which will go 360 degrees. It's a little stiff, but you know, it doesn't really matter that much. He's got articulation here at the shoulder, which will go 360 degrees, and that's the same for both arms. Then he has articulation at the elbows. So this is the first Kaiju figure I've seen that has like double articulation joints in its arms. I'll put the arms up here, we can look at a bit more articulation. He has one at the waist, which will go 360 degrees. At the hip, which will go 360 degrees, but his hip joints are very, very stiff, which is good though, because you don't want him falling over, I suppose. He also has articulation here at his retrograde knees, which will go 360 degrees. This joint is a lot more stiff than this one. This one's a little bit loose, so when you stand him, it kind of slides out of thing a bit, so you got to be careful how you're posing him. Then he has 2 points of articulation in the tail. One is here, and one is here. Now the thing with the tail is this piece comes off and goes back on quite easily. In the box, the tail is detached here, and this joint is too big to go in the hole, and it's a nightmare to put on. Now, in a way, I'm glad that it was so difficult to come on, because, you know, it's not going to slide out. It's not going to pop out of its hole. But be warned, it's a delicate joint, because the vinyl is quite hard. So when you're trying to put that tail on, what I would recommend doing, and what I ended up doing, is blowing on the tail and on the piece of the tail and the hole on the rest of the tail with a hairdryer on the highest setting. Be careful not to melt any of the plastic or to ruin the paint job there, but just have a nice long, just keep blowing on it with a hairdryer, and it should eventually soften up enough for you to be able to pop it in. Then when it's cooled down, it'll be hard again, you won't be able to take it out. So it's a good idea, because I suppose it's a solid joint. But the negative sides of that are it loses a bit of value because you can't take it off again, so you can't rebox it. And it is, I've heard of people, you know, breaking the joints before. So yeah, you want to be careful with that, really. But yeah, the articulation is fantastic on this figure. Really nice, some interesting points of articulation at the elbows as well. And yeah, just overall a wonderful bit of articulation there. Now, in terms of pricing, this was actually a gift from my girlfriend for Christmas, but I actually ordered it because she doesn't have an eBay account, so I know how much it cost. And she won it in a bid. Well, I won it in a bid, but you know, she managed to get it for 40 quid, which is insane, because like X-Plus figures tend to go anywhere from 90 to several hundred quid, and the only other X-Plus Ymirs I've seen on eBay go for around 90 quid. So this was a damn fine deal. Like the box has some slight damage to it, and Ymir himself has a little bit of paint wear. But considering it was brand new in box, this is pretty damn impressive, especially for 40 quid. So, yeah, you're not going to find this for any less than 40 quid. And normally I wouldn't review something that is too expensive, you know, over the 30 quid mark. But this is just, this thing has just rocketed to the top of my collection. And this is like my single favorite, at the moment, this is my single favorite thing in my collection. And I just really wanted to look at him. And as it's the first of my Christmas, well, my favourite of my Christmas pickups this year, I wanted to have a look at him in the first post-Christmas review. So, yeah, you're not going to find him for any cheaper than around 90 quid, I wouldn't say. But, if you do manage to snap them up for 40 quid like we did, then it is an incredible deal. So Ymir stands around 12 inches tall, and to use scaling, I'm going to scale him with a Bandai Creations figure. This is the Bandai Creations Godzilla 1954, which is also a Christmas pickup. But yeah, you can see here the scale. I'm just going to have to move the camera back. Yeah, you can see in the scale here how big Ymir is. He's a dominating figure. He stands so much taller than my other figures, and that is amazing because he looks so good on the shelf, just standing over them all. But yeah, he's not going to fit in very well with your 6-inch figures. I don't have any 12-inch Bandai figures though, so I imagine he might fit in quite well with them. But yeah, he's not going to fit in well with your 12-inch figures, but he does look good on the shelf. So overall, this is my first X-Plus figure, and I would highly recommend him. He is phenomenal, and if the other X-Plus figures are anything to go by, you know, then I'm sure they're all amazing quality. But yeah, this is just, it's so good to be able to have an Ymir figure with him being one of my favorite kaiju of all time, and there aren't a lot of figures of him. And for it to be this good quality is just, it's just fantastic. So yeah, this was really the sort of pride of place in my Christmas this year. And you know, I can't thank my girlfriend enough for this. It's such a good figure, and I would recommend it to everyone. If you can afford him and if you can find him, then you know, I highly recommend picking him up for new and old collectors. Even if you're not really a fan of Ymir as a kaiju, it's just such an impressive thing, and it's such a weird thing to look at. So yeah, I highly recommend this guy. Thanks guys for sticking around. Sorry there wasn't as much activity over Christmas as I had hoped, but you know, with family and whatever, it was a little bit difficult to fit everything in. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in episode 8.